Hey everyone, welcome back. I recently got a package in the mail from Japan, which was a consolidation of a handful of orders that I have made over the last several weeks-ish. And I thought it'd be fun to go through what I picked up here on the channel. I have a proxy address that lets me buy from Japanese websites and participate in Japanese online auctions. So whatever I buy or I win goes to that mailbox and it kind of sits there. And then whenever I'm ready to withdraw, it's all consolidated and sent to me. So like I said, this is a few different purchases that I've made over the last couple of weeks. And I thought it'd be cool because one, it'll kind of show you what I'm collecting at the moment, what I'm interested in and enjoying. And it also can potentially give you a little peek behind the curtain of potential videos to come. If you're familiar with some of my older videos, you know that I really like going through complete sets as like a showcase, highlighting release information, any historical context, differences between the Japanese and English release. So you may notice like, oh, he's picked up a couple cards from this set. That video might be coming down the line. So yeah, just going over what I'm collecting and yeah, giving you an idea of potentially what kind of videos are to come. But with that, we'll go ahead and get right into it. The first card that I picked up was the Mewtwo Koro Koro promo from the June 1997 issue. I was actually having a lot of trouble finding a relatively solid copy of this card on eBay. This is for a binder, so the most important aspect, obviously for me, for a binder card is the front. And you'll notice on the back here, there's some decent whitening pretty much along the majority of the edges. But for a binder card, the back doesn't matter much to me. I was having difficulty finding cards with clean fronts. There's a lot on eBay that are bent or ripped or honestly missing like coloring. But this one is super clean. So I'm happy to finally be checking this one off of the list and filling the slot in the binder. And the other cool thing about this card is it was illustrated by Benimaru Ito. If you have not seen the first video on my channel, which was going over the 1996 Bandai Cardass green cards, I definitely recommend checking that out. The front of all those cards have the iconic, Ken Sugimori watercolor, but a handful of cards actually have additional illustrations on the back, and they're all done by Benimaru Ito, which his style is kind of like this, like darker, edgier feel to it. So if you are interested in seeing more of his illustrations, definitely recommend checking that video out. The next card that I picked up, super funny card. I actually personally really like this card. It is the Imakuni promo, also from Koro Koro. This is from the September 1997 issue. It actually came as part of a 2-card insert, so you would get this card and then also the Surfing Pikachu. I already have the Surfing Pikachu, so just picked up this one. And this was another one that I was having some difficulty finding a good copy of for my binder. I know binder cards, you're typically being a little bit looser with your card quality standards, but I do still care about the quality of my cards that are going in binders, probably more than most people do. But this one actually is super clean, like across the board. The back is really clean, and the front is also really clean as well. If you're not familiar with Imakuni, and not to keep plugging other videos on my channel, but I recently did a video going over both of the gym era sets on the Japanese side. So if you go to the back half of that video, I give a little more insight into the persona of Imakuni because he does have a card featured in this set, but he was a very prominent character during the vintage era of Pokemon cards in Japan, and has honestly established like a cult following among a very niche community of collectors from that era. But super funny and super cool. Like I said, those 2 Koro Koro cards have been difficult to find something up to my standard for my binder, and I'm very happy to finally be adding those in. The next card, and this is honestly the reason that I had pulled the orders from my mailbox. I wanted to check out this card. It is the Flying Pikachu ANA promo from 1999. So you needed to redeem boarding pass stubs from 2 domestic flights in Japan in 1999 to get this card. And as you can see, obviously PSA 6, it was uploaded with just 2 pictures. And they weren't scans. It was just like kind of like down like this on a black background, one front, one back. And I was doing a lot of zooming and assessing, and to be quite honest, I couldn't find anything super wrong with this card as to why it would get a PSA 6. One thing that I have noted in my experience is when a card does look or feel really clean and it comes back with a 6, that usually means there might be a minor dent in it. So I wanted to assess this card in person. And in my assessment, I have not been able to find any dents anywhere, honestly. I mean, I'm going to continue to look, and this is a binder card, so I'm going to crack it out, and that'll give me a better idea as well. But I haven't been able to notice any dents. So why it is a PSA 6? I'm not entirely sure. I mean, don't get me wrong, there is a little bit of whitening on the front corners here. Nothing super crazy. The only other noticeable, I guess, quote unquote issue with the card is it's very top and right side heavy. So the centering definitely at play here. But I think for the physical card quality, I got a pretty good deal at this price because it was given the PSA 6. So I will be breaking that out and putting it into a binder, but super happy with the card's physical condition. At least as of right now. Like I said, I will go through it again when I crack it out to see if I find any dents, but looking through the slab, I have not been able to find anything. Now we'll get into some more fun stuff here. So I actually picked up this combination here. So we have volume 1 of the Pokemon Fan Club magazine. This was released June 5th of 1997, and it came with the promotional card, which was the Fossil Psyduck, obviously tying back to Psyduck being featured on the cover of the magazine. And really cool fact about this, so there are no distinguishable differences between the card that was released with the Fan Club magazine and the card that is pulled from booster packs. They are identical. So like I said, this was released June 5th, 1997. Fossil actually released in Japan a little bit later, June 21st, 1997. So the Fossil Psyduck is actually the first Fossil card that was ever released. So that's super cool. And then one reason I really think magazines are a fun thing to collect is because it gets you access to really unique artwork that is not featured anywhere else. So if you really do enjoy, the Pokemon artwork, illustrations that kind of have that old school feel, I definitely recommend checking out magazines. There are obviously a ton of Pokemon related magazines from back in the day, but you will find some really unique illustrations that you can't find anywhere else. I may do a video on magazines in the future, so I won't go too in depth, but we'll give a quick preview synopsis here. They'll have an information section in here that kind of is serving for announcements of new sets or events. Obviously, so you see some event photos here, and then of course, like I said, the Japanese Fossil set, which was releasing about like 2.5 weeks after this magazine came out. Again, more super cool one-off artwork that you wouldn't be able to find anywhere else. A lot of like card information. I made note of a couple of things that I wanted to just highlight in this video super quickly. We'll go over to pages 26 and 27. This is essentially Kagamaru Himeno's corner. It kind of serves as like her own little blog post. And of course, you have a ton of her own unique illustrations, which I think are super cool. And then of course, again, a lot of information on the trading card game, individual cards themselves. But again, one of the main, well, I guess two reasons that I really like the magazines is one, obviously the historical context, a preservation of a moment in Pokemon history, but then also the really fun artworks that, again, aren't really featured anywhere else in the Pokemon card hobby. I also picked up the second volume of the Pokemon Fan Club official magazine. This one came with the memo card for the deck. Essentially, you just obviously write your name and have any information on your deck, and then tying back Chansey from the card to the cover of the magazine. It actually came with 2 copies of this. I only have one though, only needed one for the binder, but that was the promotional piece that came with volume 2. This was released September 5th, 1997. So you'll see a lot of really fun and cool information. Again, it kind of follows the same theme, really fun artwork. You'll have the announcements and information section. This one includes information on, actually on the first ever official Pokemon trading card game tournament, which I think is really cool moment in history, obviously. And this is actually where the original 1997 Trophy Pikachu cards come from. Then you'll have, like I said, more information. This section here is kind of, I think it's called Let's Become Stronger. It's basically, talking about some of the Pokemon power for the newly released cards from Fossil. So Dragonite, I believe Aerodactyl has one as well. It also features a section that is dedicated to helping players understand weaknesses and resistances. And then you'll also find a section here where it's essentially providing insight on how to build a deck that leverages complementary types. So helping people understand how to run multi-type decks for the trading card game. And then if we keep going again, you'll have Kagamaru Himeno's corner again with some really fun illustrations. And then one more note here. I know we talked about him with the purchase that I had picked up, but toward the back here, you have a column with Imakuni and some of his own illustrations. So yeah, really, really loving these vintage magazines. I think they are super, super cool because of all of the, again, historical information it preserves, but then also those unique illustrations are really fun to look at. And we're not done yet. I also picked up the third volume of the Pokemon Fan Club magazine. I promise this is the last one for the video. There are other volumes, but this was the last one that I picked up recently. And we're actually going to deviate from the trend. So obviously you have Wartortle on the cover. Wartortle is actually not the promo card for this magazine. Really cool illustration, but the promo is the Dark Persian. So I actually have the copy of that here as well. This was also released in English, but on the English side, it was a holo. On the Japanese side, it is not a holo, so you can very easily see Giovanni behind the Dark Persian, which is really cool. It's kind of hard to see, honestly, on the English holo side. And I believe, obviously we call it Dark Persian in English, but I believe my Japanese is not great. Wadui, which I think is, Wadui is bad or evil, bad Persian or evil Persian. Someone let me know. But Wadui is what they call it. It's not Dark Persian. It's either evil or bad Persian. But we'll go through again, like I said, I'll probably do a video dedicated to magazines down the line when I have more to go over, but we'll highlight some quick hits here. Again, you'll have the information section, obviously going over the Team Rocket set. The Team Rocket set came out a couple days after this, actually. This magazine released November 18th, 1997. Rocket came out November 21st, 1997. So you have information on the set that was coming out, and you'll also get a sneak peek of the gym era, specifically around Brock and Misty. We also have, again, a lot of card information. There's another section for Himeno, super cute Ammonite illustration there. I think in this section she is talking about her experiences playing through Pokemon Red and Green. There is another section that features Himeno. It is a little bit of a look behind the scenes of her illustrations. Right here, you'll kind of see some of the equipment she uses and talking about the illustration process. And then I know I accidentally showed the page, but you'll also have another section here featuring Imakuni again, all his illustrations, some really interesting suspect illustrations. But like I said, he had a cult following back in the day. But yeah, super cool. Love the magazines. Definitely another medium that can really be a good option for appreciating that old school artwork. But we'll go ahead and lay it out. That was the haul from my recent pickups from Japan. Like I said, this was over the last handful of weeks. We'll be cracking out the PSA 8 or PSA 6, sorry, PSA 6 Pikachu here, and I'll inspect it and see if I can find any dents there. But Let me know if you like this style of video. I'm always buying from Japan, so if it is interesting, I can definitely keep going through this for future orders. I really do enjoy kind of unpacking everything and talking through it. Let me know if there's anything that you are picking up from Japan. But yeah, that's all I have for you today. As always, I appreciate you checking out the video. I'll see you in the next one.